Hey everyone, with the holidays just around the corner, I have been dying to build a new entryway table. So I've had a bench there for a long time, which I love, but I really wanted something I could decorate a bit more, and I still needed that storage for some of my kids' shoes. So I designed the cutest farmhouse entryway table, although I think it would go in pretty much any room. This thing is super easy to build and it uses all 2x6s. So let's check it out. The first step that I am going to make in building this table is going to be making my cross cuts. I find it a lot easier to make those cuts first, and then I can run them through my table saw to make them just a bit smaller. This table is going to be using entirely 2x6 boards. I know some of you don't love to rip down your boards, but with the cost of lumber being higher right now, I find that this is such a great way to save money and really customize your pieces. So if you aren't gonna do that, make sure you change the plans up to fit your own design. But I've got my measurements down. I'm gonna make these cross cuts and we'll get started. It's a great day to be alive, guys. It's a great day to build a table. Kids aren't home. It's pretty quiet. Okay, I'm back. I'm back, I'm ready to build. All right, so I'm actually cutting the legs first, and these are going to be ripped to 5 inches later. You do not have to remember this. You can go download the free plans and get that wood out of the way before it hurts me. First leg board cut, 5 more to go. I'm a little dusty. So I've got all of my cross cuts made for my base, and now I'm gonna cut the long pieces that are gonna be my top. These are also 2x6 boards like we discussed. I'm gonna make these, there's 4 of them, and from there I will get over to the table saw and rip everything down. So I've got all my cross cuts done. I've now pulled this over to my table saw, and everything on this design, minus 3 pieces, is gonna be ripped to 5 inches. So a typical 2x6 is 5.5 inches with the rounded ugly edges, and I'm just going to first set my saw to 5.25, shave each of these through, then I'll drop the saw down to 5 inches, flip the board over, and get the other side. That will make it 5 inches wide each. It'll give me really smooth, pretty edges. So I'm gonna do all the pieces minus those 3. Those are going to be, I believe, 3 inches. I have to look at plans, maybe 4. And I'll drop it down just a little bit more for those, but here we go. So we are at pocket hole point. I've got all my cross cuts made. I've done all of the rips on the table saw, which explains all the sawdust everywhere and on me. And now I'm adding my pocket holes. I have decided that since this table uses 1.5 inch pocket holes for everything, I'm going to speed this up by using my Craig Foreman. I showed you guys this on one of our last videos, and I know that so many of you have asked questions about it and responded to it. I will add a link, I won't forget, in the description box below. It is a little bit pricey, but it is so worth it. It's definitely more than the K5, but complete total investment here. And Christmas is just around the corner, guys, so I feel like all of you need to purchase one because you will thank me and you will build faster. So this is actually our top board. So on 3 of the 4 of these that create our tabletop, I'm going to do 1.5 inch pocket holes down one side of 3 of 4 of them, and I'm also going to do pocket holes on each end of all of them because that's going to help attach our breadboard. And this will not take long because we're using the Foreman. Oh great, neighbor walking. It's so embarrassing. She thinks I'm talking, but she's on the phone, so she probably thinks I'm on the phone. Hey girl! And I'm ready to roll. Ready to hole. Oh my God. Look, that's so fast you don't even need a time lapse, guys. You're welcome. Now I'm adding them to the ends right here. I'm gonna do 2 on each end, get the other 3 done, and then we'll move on to the next part. Now I am on onto my apron pieces. So these are gonna be my front and back aprons. They're the longer ones that connect my 6 legs together. These are going to have pocket holes on each end, which will help us attach them to the legs, but they're also going to have pocket holes down one end of each board, and that's going to help us attach the tabletop in one of our final steps. So I'm just picking the prettier side to show, although they both look pretty darn good. So my ends, I don't really measure them out, but I kind of have them spaced slightly apart, and then I just kind of eyeball. I do these about every 10 or 12 inches. Awesome. 1 down, 3 to go. Apron's done, moving on to the legs. So our legs, there's 6 of these, and they're only gonna have pocket holes on one end of each board, and those are gonna be to help us attach the tabletop. And I really want to be sure that I pick the good side here because you want the legs to be pretty. All right, 5 down. Just kidding. 1, I wish. 1 down, 5 to go. The last 2 boards that are going to get pocket holes are going to be our side aprons. Now, because I know I'm going to have a difficult time getting my drill into one side, I'm also only going to put pocket holes on one side of each of these. And then on the back side of the table, I'm going to use screws through the legs and into it. It'll all make sense later, promise. So each of your side aprons will look like this. You'll have 1 on each end and then none on the other. All right, so let's get this thing put together. I'm excited. So at this point, we are going to build an E. That's what it looks like to me. That's what we're gonna call it. Building our E. We're actually gonna build 2 E's. So what I'm doing is I'm getting my legs. I'm annoyingly placing my legs. You'll wait for me. There we go. Cool. All right, so what we have is 2 legs, pocket holes facing up on both, and then I'm gonna be joining an apron piece with that. Make sure pocket holes face up on all of that. And then you also want to be sure to use wood glue in between your joints so it's nice and strong. And I am using 2.5-inch Craig pocket hole screws for the assembly. Do a little shanty clamp since I don't have Ashley here. Now I'm going to come do this side right here. All right, moving down, I'm going to do the same exact thing right here. Again, making sure my pocket holes face up. Wood glue. I know some of you would prefer that I brush the glue and make sure it covers the entire surface. However, I'm not going to because it works just fine for me like this. And now my 3rd leg. Once again. So y'all can see, this is what I mean by E. Except it's kind of backwards right now, but E. All right, so I built 1, now I'm gonna build the 2nd. It's gonna be the exact same. Okay guys, so at this point, I have my 2 E's, double E's, baby. And I'm going to add my side aprons flush with the top corner of whatever's going to be my front E. So this is my front E, that's my back E, just because that little middle board's a little crazy. So y'all remember the pocket holes are only on one side of this apron. I did go and add some that will go up into our top, but I didn't mention that earlier because I just added them now. Is it still, yes, it's still recording. Having some technical difficulties. Imagine that, so unlike that. Okay, so I am attaching these using the same 2.5-inch pocket hole screws and wood glue, and these are going to be flush. Okay, at this point, we are going to attach our E's, and we are going to do this using screws through the back E and into these boards for now. I've got my E pieces connected right here, just kind of setting. I actually used my apron pieces down at the bottom to help me hold it in place. And I'm connecting the back E to those side aprons that we talked about using 2.5-inch spack screws. So this is what the back will look like. Nobody will see that. Those screws will be hidden. And now I'm going to be attaching these smaller pieces that will help support the legs. So for these pieces, I'm gonna attach all of them using spec screws because I'm gonna be covering them with decorative pieces. So I've marked center of this, which is 2.5 inches, since these are 5. I've also marked 2 inches up because that's where I'm gonna line these pieces up. I will be adding wood glue, but before I show you guys, so you can see right here, I will add wood glue in just a bit, but this will slide in place. And then I've marked center on the board, and I know exactly where it needs to be, and I'll attach them using wood glue and spec screws. All right, I've got those 3 leg supports in place, and now I am going to add the decorative pieces to the front that will hide those screws that we just added. So these are going to be using the same 4-inch boards. I'm gonna go cut 2-inch pieces. The little decorative pieces will be 2-inch pieces, as I mentioned. I just made a little block as a template to show me center. So I'm just lining that up in place, and I'm adding my wood glue where the block will line up. Sorry for the shake. And then I'm gonna hold it in place right there. And now I'm just using my 16 gauge nailer with 2.5-inch brad nails to nail those pieces in place. So you can see when I take the little block off, it looks like a decorative, fun little fancy piece on the front. Now I'm building my top. So these are 4-inch pieces. I initially said 5, but I decided to shave them down a bit more, make them 4 inches so the top wasn't so wide. I've added my pocket holes. I've attached my first 3 boards, and I'm attaching my final board using 2.5-inch pocket hole screws. These at the end are going to be used to attach our breadboards. So I've got my top built, and now I am turning the base upside down on top of it, and I'm attaching the top through the 1.5-inch pocket holes with 2.5-inch pocket hole screws all the way down. I'm not using glue on this part. I love, love, love how this turned out, guys. I've got to get it sanded and get it prepped to either paint or stain it. I haven't even decided yet, but it's going to look so beautiful in my entryway, and it'll be just a great place to store my kiddos' shoes with baskets under. And I'm just gonna throw some pumpkins on top. I love, love, love how this turned out, and I'm so excited to be able to decorate it for every season, and most importantly, have all the storage for all the shoes for the kiddos. And I love that I was able to build this table with just 2x6s, which saved me a ton of money. I love all the detail. It's super cute. I think it would go so great in any room. And now I'm ready for fall. Okay, so I've set my, all right, no. And I'm actually going to be connecting these. Hard to do while you're holding the freaking GoPro. Easier, make a lot more sense too. Holy freaking cow, I hate this tripod. Okay. And I think my favorite part has to be the cute, no, shut up. I think my favorite part has to be the cute edging. No, that doesn't sound right either. Let me think.